We are now moving towards the next section of our advanced Excel tutorial, wherein we're going to now understand the data functions. Under data functions, what we're going to do first is understand the choose function. How does this work? We're going to see that with this example over here. Now, how can you use this choose function? For example, let's say you are an analyst and you have to give your clients various scenarios about the performance of a business or a model. Okay, so there are various scenarios. What you see over here is first is the pessimistic scenario, okay, which is not so good. Then we have the most expected scenario and we have the optimistic scenario. What you want to do is you are going to directly link this to your model and use this. Okay, now talking about the pessimistic scenario, if you have a look at it, the rental growth rate over here is 3%. The conversions that will happen are 45%. The occupancy factor is 60%. If you have to compare this to the most expected kind of a scenario, you'll find that the rental growth rate is higher. It's 4.5. Conversions are 50. Occupancy is 70%. There's one more scenario, which is the most optimistic scenario, which will basically give us a very good or a better implication that the business is going to go very well. So the rental growth is much higher compared to the ones we saw. So it is 6%, conversions are 60%, and occupancy factor is 80%. Okay, so it could be any of these scenarios. It could be the most pessimistic one, the most expected one, or the most aggressive scenario. So depending upon the scenario, your valuation is going to change. Okay, so we have seen all these phases under the scenarios. Now what we're going to do is, let's say your model requires these three inputs. So we should be able to choose any one of them, either of these scenarios, and we want the model to be directly linked to these scenarios. So let's use the choose function and find out how we can do that. What we could do is just press is equal to choose. So choose, what does this do? It chooses a value or an action to perform from a list of values based on an index number. So what you're doing is basically giving up an index number. This index number is what we're going to specify here. This index number could be 1, which is the pessimistic scenario. It could be 2, which is the most expected one, and 3, which is the optimistic one. So let's say first what we're going to do is we keep it to the first, the pessimistic one. Okay, let's apply the choose formula. When you open up the bracket, the first thing that will ask is the index number. So we're going to use number 1 as the index number, which is direct input in this cell. So we are linking that cell. What we need to do is next, it will ask for the values. What are the values that this is going to use? Value number 1, value number 2, and value number 3. Once you have selected all the values, you need to close the bracket and press enter. So under phase 1, under pessimistic, the rental growth rate is going to be 3%. Let's now drag this across for the other cells. Okay, what we need to do is you need to freeze this first. Okay, so let's freeze this cell, press enter, and now we can copy paste this across, and you will find that the conversions under scenario 1 are 45% and the occupancy factor is 60%. So this now can be directly linked to your model. Okay, fine. So this is how we can choose the first scenario. If you choose the first scenario, it is going to be the pessimistic one, and likewise we are expected to create scenarios for other items as well. So that is what we did, and you can then link this directly to your model. For any changes or assumptions that change, it can then directly happen.